Now this video is in response to somebody who asked me a question at a seminar in regards to transitioning to open guard no gi. They're a gi player, they mainly play spider guard, and they're having some trouble transitioning to an open guard game no gi. And the biggest thing that I find when people have trouble is the gripping. They're not gripping well enough. They don't use their hands enough. They're not gripping the person's arms. They're not head fighting because they're too reliant on collar grips. They're too reliant on sleeve grips, and they're too reliant on lapels and so on and so forth. So you need to understand the importance of creating your own grips while you're playing open guard, no gi as well. And you also have to understand the concept of getting underneath your opponent. So two main things that are going to help you transition to be a better open guard player, in my opinion, regardless of the open guard you're playing, is number one, try to focus on breaking their posture down. You don't just break posture down from closed guard, you do it from open guard as well. Or you also could or should focus on getting underneath your opponent. So let's talk about the first aspect of kind of breaking their posture down. Right now, Russ is going to be standing. I'm in a sitting guard. If he's standing here and he's kind of standing up a little bit higher, I can't do much here. I might be able to come inside and stay there for a second. I might be able to come inside and do like stand-up takedown sweeps or whatever, but it's going to be harder for me to do it. So what I'm going to focus on is I'm going to focus on bringing his upper body and his head lower to me. How do I do that? I need to climb my way up to him and make him bow down to me, basically. So one thing I'll do is I'll come here and I'll grab his wrists. Automatically he's lower. He's not super low, but he's lower. So even if I'm standing straight, as soon as I went to go grab his wrist, even by him working to break the grip on me, he came lower at this point. So here, I'm coming here. Let's say this works well for me, and I want to grab his head, but I can't reach it right away. So I might need to bend him a little bit. So look at my right foot. It's going to come through, and now it goes on his hip. Now I'm bending him more. Now when he goes to get his posture, he's going to have a harder time. He broke the grip off here, and then I work to bend him. Now I might work to grab his head. At this point now, when he's working to get his posture, I'm in a much better position. I could possibly start working to sweep him. He's a little bit more off balance, and so on and so forth. So I started at his wrist. Then I worked to the hip. I might switch because I like doing same side a lot. Then I worked to the head. So I climbed my way up. I made him lose his posture. Then I can start working my attacks on him. That's what we want to focus on. We can't just come here and expect to play open guard like this. It's not going to work. Even if I just have the wrist and I'm not doing anything to bend him, it's not going to work as well. I need to be able to get position. Let's say I switch to like a reverse de la Hiva, right? And he was still working to stand up. I'll get like a 2-on-1 on him. 2-on-1 position. When he goes to stand up, he's going to have a harder time. Then I'll work to grab his head. But it's the same thing. I'm fighting his arms to try to get him to bend a little bit, and then I'm working to grab his head. Now I can start working different positions on him. I might switch my hands. I might grab his elbow, work to kick up, so on and so forth. Come through, sit up and go for my takedown. Let's say we were on the knees and we were playing butterfly guard, right? Same thing though. I'm working to come inside, get my positions on him. I want to control his upper body so I can start working my open guard. I might want to control his hips and keep him bent. I might want to come inside and control his arms this way and do certain things. This is good for a spider guard player, this position. When he goes to move his arms around, a good position. So I can start working. Come up. Off balance the person. But the main thing is, I'm fighting his hands a lot. We're doing a lot of hand fighting, a lot of arm fighting. I'm working to make him bow down. I'm working to break his posture at the hips. By putting pressure in the hips, what that does is it bends the person. When I bend the person, their head is lower. Now I can grab their head, and then I can do certain things from there as well. The main thing is when you're playing guard, any type of guard really, if you control at least one of their arms completely, they're gonna have a much harder time passing you. He needs his hands to pass. So my goal is to control his arms. Don't let him use his hands. Because his hands want to control my legs. If I stop his hands from controlling my legs, I use my legs to control his hips or get underneath him. I use one of my hands or whatever to control his head, then I'm going to be much better off in playing my open guard. Also, the second option here is coming underneath the person. So when I'm here like this, I might come through, boom, come under, and work to get under them. So now I'm not controlling his hands or anything, but I'm using me being underneath him to control his posture. Here I can stand up. Let's say he came this way and dropped his knee all the way down to the mat, here. Here I can kick him up and start working my positions on him. Single leg X guard. Let's say I had single leg X. I came through, boom, like this, and dropped him down. I had my single leg X position. He's trying to come to his knees or whatever. Come all up to your knees. So we're here like this. I'm underneath him more. Now I can start working to grab his arms. I can work to grab his head. I can kick up on underneath his hips and lift him up and use different things. So when you're new to the open guard for no gi, you got to start work on posture control. Work on fighting their arms. Work on climbing them down so you can climb up, control their head. Then you can start exposing more things. Controlling the hips is very important. And then also work on getting underneath them. When you're underneath them, you have so many options you can do. And also, if you're a gi player, I would focus on playing some no gi while you're wearing the gi. That way you don't become gi dependent. When I play with the gi on a lot, I don't always grab the sleeves. I don't always grab the collars. I'll grab the wrists, I'll grab the back of the head, even when I'm wearing the gi. So just because you're a gi player doesn't mean you always have to grab the gi. You don't. You can play almost every no gi thing that is in grappling you can do with the gi on. I surprised so many people in jiu-jitsu that let's say, especially the ones I haven't trained with before because they don't know my game, by going for guillotines with the gi on, north-south chokes with the gi on. I'll do ankle picks by controlling the head with the gi on, and so on and so forth. And they're surprised because they're not used to those things because they're primarily gi players. So if you're training no gi and you also train with the gi on, I recommend that you play a no gi game sometimes with the gi on as well. That way it's not going to make you a one-sided grappler. So hopefully these tips help you out. And if you have any questions or comments, post below. All right.